Well, greetings, blade lovers. Welcome to 2023, a whole new year. I've taken a few days off here and there, and I'm back at it with some knife reviews and overviews, discussion. And this is kind of a redux from 2022, a knife I picked up back then. Highly sought after, and they've made a reappearance. So after a while of being out of stock, looks like Reate produced a bunch of them again. And sorry to say, most of them have dried up all over again, although if you hunt around to some of the major knife internet sellers like Knife Center, Blade HQ, White Mountain, you may find some. I know White Mountain looks like they're entirely out of a stock that came in. Now, these initially came out in LMAX, a very nice steel, premium steel. And then when they recently got reintroduced, they put them out in CPM 3V, I believe. So a little different steel, a rustable steel, yes. I mean, I hate to say it, a steel is rustable. It's less corrosion resistant than the LMAX. Almost picked up a second one. I think they were going for around 270, 275 on White Mountain. Of course, you can get 10% off with a discount if you use my discount code Old Sword. That'll knock 27 bucks off at White Mountain. So anyway, a lot of discussion there, but let's take another look at the knife. This is a unique knife, and I think it's worth another look. It is so well made. It is milled out of titanium. This particular one has a greenish micarta with a nice texture to it and some milling in there. Let's back out a little bit, a little more room. As you can see, it is no doubt a gravity knife. It's got that hinge on the back end, and you can simply do it that way, or not having really enough room here, I can show you that you can toss it out and drop it back in. The fellow who designed these, and I'm sorry I don't have his name handy on mine, does a lot of Instagram videos showing all kinds of martial arts sort of techniques that he does with them. But the most simple opening method is just to point it down, and then the strength of your grip holds it in place. Now, it looks like the inventor is, or designer I should say, is going to be coming out eventually with a locking model. So that it will have a switch or a release of some sort that will lock it in the closed and open position, as far as I know. And also, as far as I know, those aren't out yet. But look at the beautiful milling on this knife. The work is just incredible. The branding isn't overdone. There's Reate's trademark logo. And as we open it up, there you can see the designer is Exoskeleton Design. And it's got a serial number. This one is 052. Manufactured in January of 22, so about a year old. Nice that that's all on the handle, and you really don't see anything on the blade. There's no branding whatsoever that I can see on the blade. Comes in several blade models. Comes in a Tanto. Comes in this beautiful drop point with a nice swedge on top. Comes in a bayonet style grind with kind of a spear point and the top part sharpened, which you can do since the whole thing is enclosed. It's kind of like an auto out the front knife, but it's not auto. Very similar entrance and exit. You can see there is the slot that the blade comes out through. It's running on a track. It's loose. And again, the only thing that holds it in place is your grip. And it's got just a tiny little bit of wiggle there. I would say about the same as on a good out the front auto, even like a Microtech and so forth. It can be disassembled. You can take out that pivot. You can slide the blade out of the track. If you could locate a second blade, it would fit in there if you wanted a couple different blade styles. Not bad as an impact item either, weapon. And I will mention that your jurisdiction may not favor your carrying these. Now, somebody got back to me recently, I think it was in response to something I'd mentioned in a video on a rather large cold steel knife with a long blade, and I said, well, that's not legal for me to carry in my jurisdiction. He says, well, there's a national law that trumps everything else, and that should cover you. I think that would need to be put to the test, and there are outfits like Knife Rights that spend a whole lot of time in legislating, trying to get knife laws rolled back, because you know what? If you're in the wrong circumstance and you're not smart enough and you get caught with something that's not allowed, the first point of contact is going to be the police officer. And it will be up to that police officer whether or not to arrest you and take your knife away. And then it will be up to the court after that to decide what is going to happen to you. And you may be able to fight it with some form of hierarchical legislation from a national level. But, do you want to do that? Maybe you do. Maybe you want to be a test case. So, at any rate, I would wait until your state and local laws get changed. But, as I always say, it's up to you. It really is your decision, because whatever you do is going to come back to you, and we are all the results of so many decisions we make in life. Isn't that true? All right, get off that soapbox, will you, old sword? Going to measure it up real quick in case you don't have the measurements from the first go round when I reviewed this a year ago or so. Overall length of the knife is not short. It's I'm going to call it 8.9, and we've got a 3.9 inch blade. We got a pretty good, well, no, I don't know how thick it is. Let's see. Let's do the handle first. 0.54, not bad. Blade, 0.11 millimeters, 2.8 millimeters. So fairly slender, but the grind goes up maybe about 2/3 of the way, and it appears to be hollow. I'm going to take a look down there. Yeah, she is a hollow ground blade, and comes through with a darn good edge. What else would you expect from Reate, right? Now, there is no clip with this knife. Here's what they give you, if I can get it in there the right way. You get a Kydex sheath, very similar to some of the sheaths that Microtech offers with like the Halo and for some of their auto out the front knives. So they give you some belt hardware. I didn't bring it all out on the table here. Or you could even hang it from a lanyard if you trust that this is in there tight enough. And you can jam it in pretty tight. There it is all the way. I did not have it in all the way, and I wonder if I'm even going to be able to get it out. There we go. Now, you can use that. You can also buy a nice pouch. I happened to get curious and found this one on Amazon. It really isn't half bad. You can wear it horizontally on your belt. You loop your belt through there. They make an angled version too that angles up slightly, but I like it to sort of blend in with my belt. I haven't used it that much. The way it would go in, however, for a right-hand draw is with the business end pointing out, and I could jam it in a little more. These leather sheaths would need to get broken in, and they will over time. then theoretically you pull it out, open the knife, and you've got it. Now that system was very similar to something we used to call a cocoon that Benchmade Knife Company came out with for balisongs. And you could pull the balisong out. It had a flap. It was ballistic nylon, not leather. And this one, by the way, is made by Gentle Stash. Gentle Stash. I'll give you the Amazon link if it's still around. I got that a few months back. Conceptually, a gravity knife functions on gravity, and so does a balisong. They're similar in some ways, except with the balisong, you have many different manipulations which can be done. So you can use momentum, but you can use momentum with the Exo as well. But you could argue that just dropping the handle sets the thing in motion, and manipulating it opens and closes it. That's the most simple open and close. That's a single flip. This happens to be a Bradley. Nice little knife. And this is a USA made 154 cm. Nice balisong. A little on the smaller side, but very nice. A little on the heavier side. But very similar in concept to the Exo. Now, size-wise, there is a griptilian next to it. The griptilian is going to be significantly shorter, about 1.5 inches shorter, and the blade a little bit shorter, maybe by a 1/2 inch or so. If we got out a larger folder, such as Rat 1, then you're going to find that it's slightly larger, maybe a 1/2 inch overall, than the Rat 1, and a very similar blade length. Didn't get a weight on it, did I? Well, that will have already shown up in the text, but we'll do it real time here anyway. Is it real time? No, it's recorded time. We have a 4.86 ounce knife, not particularly heavy. Titanium falls somewhere between aluminum and steel for weight, probably a little closer to the aluminum side. Let's take another look around. One thing you're getting, whether you carry this knife actively or not as an EDC, is a beautifully made, a beautifully machined piece of work. And if you've been waiting for one, continue to check out some of the links. I'll see if I can find them. But again, you know, inventory on any knife is going to be a work in progress, so to speak. It's going to be different tomorrow than it is today because people like yourselves are going to buy them. And if they're available today, they may not be available tomorrow. I happen to like the knife as it feels in the hand. It's a very neutral grip. You do need to be careful because as you change grips, nothing is holding the handle together except you. So if you like to manipulate knives and juggle them and so forth, and I don't because my dexterity is not what it once was, I stay with the plain and simple methods of opening and closing. So it can be a very useful knife. But just know that you will need to carry it in some form of enclosure, some kind of pouch, some kind of a belt setup until they determine how to make it into a locking knife. And then guess what? It's still going to be a gravity knife. And I'll state once again that, you know, as far as your knife rights go, it is up to you. You want to carry an automatic and your state doesn't allow automatics. You want to carry a larger blade than your jurisdiction allows. It is up to you. I'm not going to tell you to do it or not. Just know your local laws and be willing to abide by them when the time comes. Me, I try not to get myself in situations where I get frisked or get questioned on what I'm carrying. But that's me. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed this redo of the Reate Exo now that it is getting out there in the open again from the wild. Take care. Enjoy. Don't forget to give this video a like. It's still early here, folks, and it's early in the year, but I'll get better as the year progresses, I promise. Take care.